Please welcome Glenn Elliott, who is the Democratic candidate for the United States Senate, running against Republican Governor Jim Justice. Glenn, good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you too, Hoppy.
All right, thank you. Thanks for coming in the studio. So you're on this big statewide tour. Where have you been? Do you remember every place you've been?
Yes and no, because it all blurs together at some point. We started out down in McDowell County, went to Mingo County, went to Wayne. I did Cabell, been in Kanawha. Now this week we're in Mon today. Tomorrow we're going to be in Preston. Thursday we'll be in Marion with a town hall in Fairmont at 5:30 p.m. at the, I believe it's at East Marion Park. And Friday we'll be in Taylor. So, we're trying to be everywhere we can. We're going to get to all 55 counties before Labor Day.
What are you trying to accomplish by doing that? Because I'm sure that you might go somewhere and there might be 4 people, 2 people, maybe nobody. Who knows?
Well, look, for me, the name of the game is name recognition at this time. I'm starting out at a name recognition deficiency compared to the governor who, is well known. So we're just trying to get out and meet people. We're knocking on doors. That's something I know the governor's campaign is not going to do. So every time we knock at a door, we see that as an opportunity to talk to a voter in a way that the governor won't have. We're knocking on doors of Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, and introducing ourselves. We know that in this campaign, at the presidential level, a lot of that vote is baked in. But what I'm finding is there's a lot more flexibility for people, down ballot races. And we're trying to make the case for why we're the best campaign to represent the state in the Senate.
Glenn Elliott's with us, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. When you talk to folks, real people, as opposed to people like me, what do they say? What are they concerned about? Well, that a governor can do, that a senator can potentially do something about.
Well, look, this particular Senate seat has been very well represented going back to 1958. When you look at Senator Robert Byrd and Senator Joe Manchin, it's a position that requires a lot of energy and a lot of vigor. And, people are asking me, and I think it's a fair question, can the governor, based on his work ethic as governor, is he going to be able to be a senator? It's a different world being a senator. The world doesn't stop for you when you're a senator like it does when you're a governor. If you're 40 minutes late for a press conference in Morgantown, in Charleston, the media's going to sit there and wait for you. It doesn't. The Senate doesn't stop for you. I used to work for Senator Byrd, and there were series and series of roll call votes well into the evening where you had to be there, where the senator had to be in his office. And is this something Governor Justice is going to do? Is he going to move to D.C.? Is he going to commit to the job and what it takes? And I think it's a fair question.
Okay, so you are questioning Justice's physical abilities to do the job. Is
not
that
physical
correct?
abilities? I'm questioning his commitment to the job. If he tries to be a senator the way he's been governor, which is basically from his living room in Lewisburg, it's going to be very hard to be a senator. You have to be in the Senate chamber to vote. You have to be there. If you want to be effective in the Senate, you have to get on the right committees and you have to actually put in the work. Really, ideally, if you want to bring back resources to the state of West Virginia, you have to serve in the Senate long enough to build up some seniority in those committees. I don't see that. I don't see the work ethic from what he's done as governor that's going to translate well to being an effective senator.
Glenn Elliott's with us, who is a Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. These fundraising for the second quarter is being posted now, and we earlier talked about Patrick Marcy's $2 million quarter, which is gigantic. Steve Williams, the significant deficit there at about $45,000 or $50,000, according to how we're interpreting the numbers. You haven't filed yours yet, but you have some information. So where are you in fundraising?
Yeah. I got to wait for a treasurer's final sign-off on the numbers before they're filed. They're due on the 15th for the federal races. We're somewhere north of $140,000 for this quarter. Brings us around $250,000 plus for the cycle.
Mm-hmm. And is that where you need to be? You're up against a guy. You're up against a candidate who has access to money. I'm not sure how much money he has on hand, but he has access to money. And also he's backed by Mitch McConnell, so there are political action committees that can help with his campaign. So how significant is your deficit? I'm not talking specifically dollars, but how big is your deficit fiscally to Justice?
Well, look, there's going to be a deficit. And whatever I raise, I'm going to be outraised by the governor and his team. But for me, this is a national race. This race has national implications. Whoever wins the presidential election, the Senate is very close to 50-50 Senate. So whether this seat changes or stays as a blue seat is very relevant. So I'm going to have to appeal to people outside the state, and nationalize this race. I have tried to get the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, to be interested in this race.
Are they?
They are definitely looking at the race, and trying to figure out where they need to prioritize. The case I make to them is, because of our small media market, money spent here can go much further than it's going to go in Texas, where you have a huge media market. Trying to beat Ted Cruz in Texas, and I've made that case to them, and they're certainly looking at it. They have someone assigned to my race, so we'll see if the money comes in from the outside. But for me, it's just proving that I can fundraise a little bit. It's a tough market for Democrats to fundraise right now because a lot of people think we don't have a chance in this race. The reality is we do, but I think you said it in your last segment, like the best way to fundraise is to have fundraised. And, I'm a relatively unknown candidate at the statewide level, trying to prove this case right now. We got some work to do, but, I think it's, I'm pretty proud with where we are, and we're going to keep going. Everywhere we go, we had a town hall a couple days ago, and that led to contributions. People are seeing me when they see the message. I think they believe that this is someone who can, defeat the governor in the fall and actually really represent the state well in the Senate.
Do you think that Joe Biden should step aside as the Democratic candidate for president?
I knew that question was
Of course,
probably
you knew that was coming.
Look, I watched that debate like everybody, and it was cringeworthy. There were parts of that debate that were very disappointing. I used to watch Joe Biden when I worked for Senator Byrd in the 1990s. We had little televisions on our desks in the Senate office, and anytime Biden took the floor, you stop what you're doing to watch because he was such a talented senator, a talented speaker. The Biden we see today is not that man. I'm not going to throw him out because of one bad debate, but I do think he has to prove to voters that he still has the vigor, that he still has the energy, that he still has the cognitive ability. And I think the one or two interviews that he's done is probably not enough. So I'd like to see some more experiences, more opportunities for him to be out there. But at the end of the day, this race in West Virginia, I think we know whoever the Democratic nominee is not going to win in West Virginia. That is a foregone conclusion. But there are some other down ballot races that are very pivotal, very important. And for me, whether it's Joe Biden or someone else, I'm going to continue doing everything I can to make the case for my candidacy.
So and I understand, localizing the race, but as of today, you would not be, again, don't let me put words in your mouth. As of today, you would not be in the camp of he should pull out of the race. Is that fair to say, or would you?
As of where we are today, no. But I do need to see more from him. I don't think he's done enough to prove that what happened at that debate was a one-off or whatever. Look, I think the people.
What did you think when you watched that?
Well, it was painful, but I do think. What happens to presidents sometimes, and you've seen this over the years, is they get in a little bit of a bubble and they get surrounded by yes people who for whatever reason, agree with them, and they don't push back on them sometimes. So I think you get a little bit soft sometimes in the Oval Office because you're not used to people actually confronting you. And there you are on the stage with former President Trump, who, whether you like him or not, he's going to be a force on that stage. And I think Biden got caught off guard. I think they put too many facts and figures in his head. And for a debate that wasn't going to be about facts and figures, it was going to be a debate about projecting strength on screen, because that's what President Trump is very good at, projecting strength. Even though he lied 25 or 30 times during the debate, it doesn't matter for him because he's thinking about it from the context of projecting strength. And I think President Biden was too worried about facts and figures, and I think he got messed up a little bit. He should have been talking thematically to me, and I think that was a mistake in their preparation. Whether he was sick or whatever, look, it was a bad debate. I think the jury's still out, but it's important for Democrats, whoever the nominee is, whether it's him or someone else, that we all stand together. This is a very crucial election. The stakes could not be higher here in West Virginia and across the country. And, I have confidence that he's going to do what's best for the country when anything's said and done. But hopefully that debate was a one-off. We'll see.
We will. Watch, he may be knocking on a door near you sometime soon. Glenn Elliott is going to all 55 counties over the summer. I think it's an 11-week tour you're on, and trying to get his campaign rolling. Glenn, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming by today.
It's great to be here, Hoppy. Thank you.
Thank you.